Hello aspirants, welcome to T1 Academy. I am Siddharth Gautam. So as part of this session, let us solve the UPSC question paper, the UPSC Civil Services Prelims question paper that was recently conducted. Clear? So the first question is, with reference to the investments, consider the following: the bonds, hedge funds, stocks and venture capital. Now, how many of the above are treated as alternative investment fund? Alternative investment fund. See, first of all, we need to understand the meaning of the term alternative investment fund. Alternative investment fund is nothing but that fund which is sourced from the private players, and that particular money is invested in the the untraditional areas or the untraditional avenues. Okay. So when we come to the options, obviously bonds and stocks are the traditional areas. They are the traditional areas. So excluding the bonds and the stocks, which are the traditional avenues or the traditional areas of investments, we have the hedge funds and venture capital, which are not traditional. They are not traditional. So the answer would be B, only 2. Clear? Next, which of the following are the sources of income for the Reserve Bank of India? Sources of income for the Reserve Bank of India. In what way does the Reserve Bank of India earns it profits or earns it income? Okay, that is the question. Next, the first option is buying and selling government bonds. Yes, this is right. Why? Because the Reserve Bank of India, when it purchases the bonds, it gives money to the government, okay, and the interest earned out of that money that is lent to the government is the profit to the Reserve Bank of India or the income to the Reserve Bank of India. So that statement is correct. Next, buying and selling foreign currency. Yes, this is also correct. By fundamentally we know that Reserve Bank of India is the forex manager. It is the forex manager. So statement 2 is also correct. Clear? Next, pension fund management. See, pension fund management is not done by Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India doesn't involve in the pension fund management. Clear? Next, lending to private companies. This is common sense. We know that Reserve Bank of India doesn't have the financial relations or doesn't have the the lending process to the private companies. So this is not right. Okay. Next, printing and distributing currency notes. Yes. How? See, consider this as the 500 rupees note. Okay, we have the face value, that is the 500 rupees, but the intrinsic value is less. The intrinsic value might be 50 rupees only. It might take just 50 rupees to print the currency. So as a consequence of that, the Reserve Bank of India is having the profit of 450 rupees, which is again the right answer. So answer is 1, 2 and 5. 1, 2 and 5. Option D is the correct answer. Clear? Next. Now, with reference to the Government of India, consider the following information. Directorate of Enforcement. Directorate of Enforcement, some of its functions are the enforcement of the Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018. But the point here is that it doesn't come under the Ministry of Home, it comes under the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance. So, the first one is wrong. Next, Director of Revenue Intelligence enforces the provisions of the Customs Act. Yes, one of the aspect or one of the duty is to enforce the provisions of the Customs Act 1962. It comes under the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. Yes. Next, Director General of Systems and Data Management, carrying out big data analytics to assist tax officers for better policy and nabbing tax evaders. So the process or the prevention of tax evasion is one of the main function of this particular, the Director General of Systems and Data Management. Okay, and it is part of Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. This is also correct. So option, if you see the options, only 2 of them are correct because the first one is wrong. Clear? Next, the fourth question. Consider the following statements. Consider the following statements. In India, consider the following statements. The Reserve Bank of India mandates all the listed companies in India to submit a business responsibility and sustainability report. First of all, what right does the Reserve Bank of India have? What right does the Reserve Bank of India have to ask the companies or the listed or the unlisted companies to submit its report? Okay, so it is not the Reserve Bank of India, but it is the SEBI which have the right. Okay, so statement 1 is wrong. Next, in India, a company submitting BRSR makes disclosures in the report that are largely non-financial in nature. Yes, it reports the functional aspects. Only the functional disclosures are part of BRSR, which are fundamentally non-financial in nature. So statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 is wrong and statement 2 is correct. And here also, it is not all the listed companies, only those companies whose market capitalization is huge. Okay, only those companies whose market capitalization is more, only those companies were asked to disclose. Clear? So answer is only 2. Okay, next. Consider the following statements. Consider the following statements. In India, income from allied agricultural activities like poultry, farming and wool rearing in rural areas is exempted from any tax. Okay, this is correct. Why? Because agriculture and agriculture allied activities are exempted from the any kind of taxes. They are not covered under any kind of taxes. Next, in India, rural agricultural land is not considered as the capital asset under the provisions of the Income Tax Act of 1961. See, first of all, here one thing that you need to understand is that when you consider one particular property as the capital asset, the tax that you are gonna pay when you sell that property is the capital gains tax. Capital gains tax. Okay, so when you are considering it as the capital gains tax, obviously, what do you say? When there is a sale and when there is a purchase of that particular thing, the tax need to be paid to the government of India. Okay, but agricultural land is not being treated as the capital asset. It is not being treated as the capital asset. So here, if you see, statement 1 and statement 2 are right, but the point here is that statement 2 doesn't explain statement 1. Okay, so answer is B. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, but the statement 2 does not explain statement 1. Okay, individually they are correct. Okay, but the concept here is that there is no interconnection or there is no clear supplementary thing with respect to these two statements. Okay, statement 1 does not explain the statement 2. Clear? Next. 6. Consider the following statements. India has joined the Minerals Security Partnership as a member. Okay. This is right. Why? Because in the recent meeting, the India joined this particular mineral security partnership as a member. India is a resource-rich country in the 30 critical minerals that it has identified. The point here is that if you are well acquaintance with the newspaper, if you have the well acquaintance with the newspaper, just 1 week back we have signed an agreement with the China in order to import the 30 critical minerals. Now when we are self-sufficient, when we are resource rich with respect to these minerals, then why do we sign the agreement with the China? So this particular thing is wrong. Next, the Parliament in 2023 has amended the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulatory Act, empowering the central government to exclusively auction mining lease and composite license to certain critical minerals. Yes, the center has the right. According to the amendment that was carried, the center is vested with the right to auction the the mining leases or regulate the mining. Clear? With respect to those critical minerals. So statement 1 and statement 3 are right, statement 2 is wrong. So only 1 and 3 are right. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. As regards from an investment in a company, generally bondholders are considered to be relatively at lower risk than stockholders. The first thing is that you need to understand is what is the difference between bond and stock. The difference between bond and stock. First of all, what is the bond? Bond is nothing but it is an instrument that is used to raise the fund or to raise the money, to raise the finance. That is what is called as the bond. For example, if I am starting a particular company, then I need to source my investment. For that purpose, I lend money from one particular entity by issuing the bond. Clear? So, bond is not technically the part of ownership. It is not ownership. Okay, if I am borrowing the money from any other source, it's not that that particular person will have the ownership in my company. No, he is giving the money and that money need to be repaid back with interest. Clear? Whereas stock is that you are giving it the part of your ownership. A part of your ownership is being given to this particular entity. For example, if I purchase the stocks of Reliance, okay, then it means that a small percentage of ownership is being given to me or is being transferred to me. That is what is called as the stock. Now, taking this explanation as the criteria, let us see the question. As regards return from an investment in a company, generally bondholders are considered to be relatively at lower risk than stockholders. Yes, the performance of the company will affect the stockholder, but the performance of the company will not affect the bondholder because that bondholder is not part of that particular company. Clear? Next. Bondholders are lenders to a company, whereas stockholders are its owners. This is also right given the concept. For repayment purpose, bondholders are prioritized over stockholders by a company. Yes, the point here is that consider this as the particular product that is being manufactured in my company. Now I have sourced my money from particular person. Okay, yeah, I have issued the bond and that particular person has given me the money. Okay, he is holding the bond now. Now the point here is that when my company runs into losses and if my company need to be liquidated, if my company is to be liquidated, out of the money that I earn, okay, out of the liquidation process, I need to prefer or firstly I need to clear the dues with respect to the bond. Okay, later if any money is left, that money will be given to the my partners or the stockholders or etc. Okay, so the first priority need to be given to the bondholder. So statement 3 also is correct. But the point here is that statement 1 explains statement 2, but statement 3 is completely independent. It is completely independent. So the answer is B. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct and the statement 1 explains statement 2. Clear? Next. India accounts for a large portion of all equity option contracts traded globally, thus exhibiting a greater boom. If you see the recent economic survey and budget, okay, there is the mention of this particular statement. Okay, there is an increase in the equity option contracts. Clear? Next, India's stock market has grown rapidly in the recent past, even overtaking Hong Kong's at some point of time. See, whether did it overtake Hong Kong at this point of time or not, let us keep aside, but at least there is an increase in the stock market. Okay, now consider this statement as the a statement which have little ambiguity. Now, third statement. There is no regulatory body either to warn the small investors about the risk of option trading or to act on unregistered financial advisors in regard. See, when there is no regulatory mechanism, obviously the unregistered financial mechanisms or the the other financial institutions will increase. Okay, so there will be a regulatory body in a country like India. There will be a regulatory body, and that regulatory body is the SEBI. So statement 3 is wrong. Now consider statement 1 is right, statement 3 is wrong, and we have the little ambiguity with respect to the statement 2 because of the mention of Hong Kong. Now we cannot keep on tracking the stock market of India in comparison to the other countries, but you need to understand in this by the way of elimination. Now see here, statement 3 is wrong. So option D is eliminated. Option C is eliminated and option B is eliminated. So we have only option that is left out, A, 1 and 2. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. Circular economy reduces the emission of greenhouse gases. Circular economy reduces the emission of greenhouse gases. First of all, what is circular economy? Circular economy is any economy where the new resources are not raised or new raw materials are not raised, but the existing products are recycled so that there will be a less impact on the environment and there will be a less, the cost of production. Now, circular economy reduces the emission of greenhouse gases. Yes. Circular economy reduces the use of raw materials as inputs. Yes. Circular economy reduces wastage in the production process. Yes, when you put or when you recycle continuously the same product, obviously the dependence on the raw materials and the increase in the wastage will decrease. So let us see the answer. So the answer is both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, and both of them explains statement 1. Answer is A. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. Capital receipts create a liability or cause a reduction in the assets of the government. First of all, we need to understand what is the capital receipt. The source of capital receipts are borrowings and disinvestments. Borrowings and the disinvestments. Now, disinvestment is nothing but sale of the asset, the sale of the asset that belongs to the government. So, obviously, the capital receipts create a liability or cause a reduction in the assets of the government, because it is liability in the form of the borrowings and the decrease in the assets of the government in the form of investments. So, statement 1 is correct. Next, borrowings and disinvestments are capital receipts. Statement 2 is also correct. Okay. Next, interest received on loans creates a liability to the government. The first of all, when the government is given the loan, okay, and the interest that is generated out of that loan, okay, it is an income to the government. It is an asset to the government. It is not liability, and that is part of the revenue receipt. Okay. So statement 3 is correct. So only 1 and 2 are correct. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements about Raja Ram Mohan Rai. The first statement, he possessed great love and respect for the traditional philosophical systems of the East. Yes, Raja Ram Mohan Rai was the great admirer of the every culture. Okay, he believed that the culture should be open, and the culture should not be conservative. Okay, next, he desired his countrymen to accept the rational and scientific approach and the principle of human dignity and social equality of all men and women. Okay, so the system should be rational and scientific. It's not that the system or the culture should be orthodox and conservative. Okay, so statement 2 is also correct, and the answer is both 1 and 2. Next question. Consider the following subjects with regard to non-cooperation program. The boycott of law courts and foreign cloth. Yes. See, when there was the Swadeshi movement, when there was the, the Swadeshi movement way back in the year 1905, okay, what happened was there was boycott of the foreign goods, but there was no boycott of the foreign institutions. But later in the non-cooperation movement, there was boycott of foreign institutions also. So statement 1 is correct. Next, observation of strict non-violence. Yes, though the non-cooperation movement ended with the violence, that is the reason because of which we have the Bardoli resolution, but the strict non-violence was one of the component of the non-cooperation. Next, retention of titles and honors without using them in public. No, there is no retention. There is no retention. The titles were given up. Okay. Next, establishment of panchayats for settling disputes. Yes, why? Because the foreign courts or the foreign institutions were abolished, so have been boycotted. So as a consequence of that, the local panchayat system was revived. So 1, 2, 4 are correct. So 3 options are correct. See, only 3 are correct. Clear? The irrigation device Aragatta was a water bag made of leather pulled over a pulley? No. A large wheel with earthen pots tied to the outer end of its spokes? Yes. This is the right answer. Okay. See, Aragatta is in the form of the wheel. It is in the form of the wheel where the water pots are tied like this, which collects the water. When we are spinning it, it collects the water. So this particular answer is right. Clear? Next. Who among the following rulers in ancient India had assumed the titles Mattavilasa, Gunabara and Vichitrita? Okay. The first option is Mahendra Varman 1, next Simha Vishnu, Narasimha Varman 1 and Simha Varman. The answer is Mahendra Varman 1. Clear? Next. This is a direct question. Next. Fayan, the Chinese pilgrim traveler to India, during the reign of, okay, he visited India during the reign of Chandragupta II, the Guptan king Chandragupta II. Okay, next. Who among the following led a successful military campaign against the kingdom of Srivijaya? Kingdom of Srivijaya, the powerful maritime state which ruled the Malaya Peninsula, Sumatra, Java and the neighboring highlands. It is the Rajendra Chola. It is the Rajendra Chola. Ponniyin Selvan సినిమాలో కూడా ఉంటుంది. Okay, there is the reference of the Rajendra Chola in the Ponniyin Selvan movie. Okay, so this particular Rajendra Chola is the answer. Next. With reference to ancient India, consider the following pairs. First one, Asmaka Godavari. Asmaka Godavari. Second one, Kamboja Vipas. Third one, Avanti Mahanadi. And fourth one, Kosala Sarayu. See, the first thing is Asmaka Godavari is the right answer. Okay, but Kamboja, it is not the right answer, because Kamboja, it is the river which, it is the region which is in the, what do you say, the northwestern part of India, but Vipas is nothing but the current BS. Okay, statement 2 is wrong. Next, Avanti Mahanadi. Avanti is in the Ujjain, in the region of Ujjain. Okay, the current Madhya Pradesh. But whereas Mahanadi, it is the, what do you say, the river which is across the Orissa, the current Orissan state. Okay, so this particular thing also is wrong. Only 1 and 4 are correct. So answer is only 2. Okay, next. 18. The first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, a music training school, was set up in 1901 by Vishnu Digambara Paluskar in Lahore. It was set up in Lahore. Okay, next. It is also a direct question. Next. Ashokan inscription suggests that the Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta were important officers at the district level administration. See, Pradeshika, Rajuka and Yukta are the revenue officers. They are the revenue officers. Okay, he is the revenue head of the district. He collects the taxes, and below him there is another subordinate officer called as Yukta, and the answer is district level administration. Okay, next. Consider the following statements in respect of the non-cooperation movement. The Congress declared the attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be its objective. Yes, the answer is correct. Okay, why? Because the Congress never promoted violence, or the Congress never promoted the, what do you say, the extremist activities. Okay, they believed that it is through the peaceful mechanisms, it is through pray, petition and protest. Okay, the pray, petition and protest model, they want to achieve the, what do you say, the Swaraj, the concept of Swaraj, which is nothing but self-rule. Swaraj is self-rule. Purna Swaraj is complete independence. There is a difference. Okay, self-rule here is nothing but the dominion status. The dominion status. So statement 1 is correct. Next, it was to be implemented in stages with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes for the next stage only if Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to repression. This is also correct. Why? Because it is after the non-cooperation movement we have the civil disobedience movement. Okay, so if the targets or if the goals of Swaraj were not realized through the non-cooperation movement, next will come to civil disobedience movement, where there is a willful disobedience of the laws that are framed by the Britishers. Okay, so both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Both are correct. Clear? Next. Consider the following countries: Australia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Serbia, Sweden and North Macedonia. Now, how many of the above are members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization? See here, this is the most current affairs question, and it is one of the easiest question, because directly the countries' names are asked and we are asked to understand whether they are part of the NATO or not. See here, if you see the Serbia are not part of the NATO. So 1 and 4 eliminated. You have 4 other options, which the answer is B. Clear? Next. Consider the following countries: Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay and Venezuela. Andes mountains pass through how many of the above countries? This is direct atlas question, this is direct mapping question, and the answer is Brazil and Paraguay. Brazil and Paraguay. Okay, so the answer is actually not the Bolivia, Cambodia, Ecuador and Venezuela. It is through Brazil and Paraguay the Andes mountains doesn't pass. So the answer is only 1, 3, 4 and 6, only 4. Clear? Next. Consider the following water bodies. First one, Lake Tanganyika. Okay. Next, Lake Tonle Sap and Patas Lagoon. Okay. See, Lake Tanganyika, it is in Africa. It is in Africa. Okay. Next, Lake Tonle Sap, it is in Cambodia. It is in Cambodia. Okay. And Patas Lagoon, it is in Brazil. Now, if you see the mapping or if you go through the mapping, from none of them the equator pass. Okay. So, answer is D, none. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements about turmeric during the year 2022-23. India is the largest producer and exporter of turmeric in the world. Yes, this is right. More than 30 varieties of turmeric are grown in India. Yes. Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Yes, the southern states. The southern states are the largest producer of the turmeric. Okay. So, this is also right. Answer is 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Next. Which of the following are the evidence of the phenomena of continental drift? The belt of ancient rocks from, the continental drift. What is the continental drift says? The present continents are formed because of the, the larger mass called as the, Pangea, which is divided by the Panthalassa. This is the continental drift theory. Okay. Now, the belt of ancient rocks from Brazil coast matches with those from the Western Africa. Yes. The gold deposits of Ghana are derived from the Brazil plateau where the two continents lay side by side. Yes, see, the evidence of the continental drift theory is the, the boundaries, okay? When the two countries which are divided by water body now if they are brought together, they are perfectly set up in the boundary. Okay, so that is the one evidence. The other evidence is that the minerals and the rocks of these two countries or the fossil fuels are dated to same age. That is also the evidence. The second statement is also evidence. Next, the Gondwana system of sediments from India is known to have its counterparts in 6 different landmasses of the southern hemisphere. Yes. Why? Because we started drifting south. Okay, the Indian subcontinent was formed because of the drifting that happened southwards. So, as a consequence of that, this other countries with a south to India have the similar, the rock system. That is statement 3 is also correct. 1, 2 and 3. Next, consider the following statements. The amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in subtropical and temperate areas than in equatorial and polar regions. Yes, this is right. Okay, the amount of dust particles is more in the subtropical region. Next, subtropical and temperate have less dry winds. No, they have in fact more dry winds. The moisture capacity of the winds across the subtropical and the temperate region decreases, or the moisture content decreases. So, statement 2 is wrong. Statement 1 is correct, but the statement 2 is not correct. Answer is C. Next. In January in the northern hemisphere, the isotherms bend equatorward while crossing the landmasses and poleward while crossing the oceans. Okay. See, this is the right statement. This is the right statement. Next, in January, the air over the oceans is warmer than over the landmasses in the northern hemisphere. This is also right, the basic geography knowledge. Okay. But the point here is that both statement 1 and statement 2 doesn't explain each other. Okay. See, in January, what happens is what? The pressure belts or what is called as the isotherms, they bend equatorward. They bend equatorward. If this is the thing and if this is the equator, they bend like this. Okay, so as a consequence of this, the the statement 2, in January, the air over the oceans is warmer than that over the land masses in the northern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, why? Because in January, the northern hemisphere experiences summer. Clear? So that is also right. But both statement 1 and statement 2 doesn't explain each other. Next. Consider the following. In the context of effect of water on rocks, chalk is known as very permeable rock, whereas clay is known as quiet and impermeable or least permeable rock. This is right because chalk is more porous when compared to the clay. Okay, the clay is impermeable. The clay is little impermeable when compared to the chalk. So as a consequence of that, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is also correct. But statement 3 is not correct. Why? Because we cannot say that it is not at all porous, but when compared to chalk, it is bit little impermeable. So as a consequence of that, statement 1 is correct. Statement 1 is correct. Only one of the statement 2 and statement 3 is correct, and that explains statement 1. Why? Because statement 3 is wrong, statement 2 is correct, and that statement 2 is explaining the statement 1. Next. We consider the following statements. Without the atmosphere, temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the Earth's surface. Everywhere on the Earth's surface. This is wrong. Why? Because in the presence of gases, the gases try to absorb the incoming solar radiation. That is what is called as the insolation. When the gases absorb the insolation, the amount of light that is reaching to the Earth's surface will decrease a bit. Okay, but when there is a absence of atmosphere, there is more direct percolation or there is more direct entry of the sunlight on the surface of the earth. That is the reason because of which there is an increase in the temperature, and that increase in temperature is also not uniform because that depends on the the inclination of the earth. So statement 1 is completely wrong. Next, heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our planet's average temperature. Yes, why? Because when the sunlight is entering into the Earth's surface, when the sunlight is entering into the Earth's atmosphere, obviously certain part of the light is absorbed by the gases that will maintain the the average temperature on the surface of the Earth. Statement 2 is also correct. Next, statement 3. Atmosphere's gases like carbon dioxide are particularly good at absorbing and trapping radiation. Yes, this is also correct. That is the reason because of which the carbon dioxide is considered as the greenhouse gas. Okay, statement 2 and 3 are correct. Statement 2 and 3 are correct. Clear? Next question. Consider the following statements about the Rashtriya Gokul mission. See, the Rashtriya Gokul mission is nothing but it is the mission which aims to strengthen the Indian breed of bovine. Indian breed of bovine. Okay. So, the first statement is, it is important for the upliftment of rural poor as majority of the low producing indigenous animals are with small and marginal farmers and landless laborers. This statement is right. It was initiated to promote indigenous cattle and buffalo rearing and conservation in a scientific and holistic manner. Yes, both statement 1 and statement 2 are right. So, the next question is, consider the following statements. Studies indicate that carbon dioxide emissions from cement industry account for more than 5% of global carbon emissions. Yes, this is right. Why? Because carbon dioxide, or the cement industry is one of the major contribute to the greenhouse gases, especially the carbon dioxide. Next, silica bearing clay is mixed with limestone while manufacturing the cement. Yes, there is a mixture of the silica bearing clay with the limestone while manufacturing the cement. Next, limestone is converted into lime during clinker production for cement manufacturing. See, it is through this reaction. It is through this reaction where the limestone which is converted into lime, the carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. So, the statement 1 and statement 3 are interconnecting. They are interconnecting. And statement 2 is independent. So, the answer is both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, but only one of them explains statement 1, that is statement 3. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. At the 28th United Nations Climate Change Conference, India refrained from signing the Declaration on Climate and Health. Okay. The COP28, the Conference of Parties 28 Declaration on Climate and Health, is a binding declaration, and if signed, it becomes mandatory to decarbonize health sector. Decarbonize health sector. See, this statement is right. Okay. Next, if India's health sector is decarbonized, the resilience of its healthcare system may be compromised. This is not right. Okay. So, the answer is only one of the statement 2 and statement 3 is correct. Statement 2 is correct actually, and that explains statement 1. Clear? Next, consider the following statements. Consider the following statements. Scientific studies suggest that shift is taking place in the Earth's rotation and axis. This is right. Okay. Next, solar flares and associated coronal mass ejections bombarded the Earth's outermost atmosphere with a tremendous amount of energy. Okay. See, this statement is also right. Next, as the Earth's polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards the equator. This is also right. But the point here is that which statement explains the other statement is the point. So, the statement 2 explains the statement 1. Okay. So, both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, but only one of them explains the statement 1. Clear? Next. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Climate Change is frequently discussed in global discussions on sustainable development and climate change. Yes, this is 100% correct. Why? Because fundamentally it deals with the climate change. Okay. Next, Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Climate Change sets out the principles of carbon markets. Carbon markets is nothing but trading the carbon. Trading the carbon, it means when there is one country which is emitting less amount of the carbon than the standard that is set by the agreement, that particular country can sell the carbon credits to the other country. Okay, so that is given as part of the, the Paris Agreement. Next, Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Climate Change intends to promote inter-country non-market strategies to reach their climate targets. See here, this statement is also correct, but it is the statement 2 which is explaining statement 1. So, both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, and both of them, sorry, this is not the answer. Both statement 2 and statement 3 are correct, but only one of them explains statement 1. So, answer is B. Clear? Next. Which one of the following launched the Nature Solution Finance Hub for Asia and Pacific? See, this Nature Solution Hub for National Solutions Finance Hub for Asia and the Pacific, it deals with the natural solutions. It deals with the natural solutions of, or it tries to bring the natural solutions about how to deal with the climate change. Okay, and the Asian Development Bank is the institution which brought up this initiative called as the Nature Solution Finance Hub for Pacific, for Asia and the Pacific. Clear? Next. 36. With reference to the direct capture, an emerging technology, which of the following statements are correct? First one, it can be used as a way of carbon sequestration. Yes. What is carbon sequestration? Carbon sequestration is a method through which the carbon that is being emitted into the atmosphere is stored in particular medium. When it is stored in particular medium, that is what is called as the carbon sequestration. So, direct air capture, the one of agenda of the direct air capture is to sequestrate the carbon. Next, it can be a viable approach for plastic production and in food processing, because the plastic production and food processing industries are the industries which emit considerable amount of carbon dioxide. So, for the sustainable growth of these industries, this particular technology becomes very important. Next, in aviation, it can be a source of carbon for combining with hydrogen to create synthetic low carbon fuel, which is considered as the concept of blending. So, all the three statements are correct. Next. Regarding peacock tarantula, Consider the following statements. Okay, first one, it is an omnivorous as crustacean. It is an omnivorous crustacean, which is wrong. Second, its natural habitat in India is only limited to some of the forest. Yes, it is not found in India in all the forest area. Only in few forest area this particular animal is found. Next, in its natural habitat, it is an arboreal species. It is an arboreal species. This is also right. So answer is 2 and 3. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. Carbon dioxide emissions in India are less than 0.5 metric ton of per capita. Okay. Next. In terms of carbon dioxide emissions from fuel combustion, India ranks second in the Asia Pacific region. This statement is right. Next. Electricity and heat producers are the largest sources of carbon dioxide emissions in India. Yes, it is the thermal plants, or it is the the heat producers and electricity, which are the largest producer of the carbon dioxide emissions in India. And the carbon dioxide emissions in India are not less than 0.5 metric tons, but it is more than that. So answer is only 2 and 3. Next. 39. Consider the following pairs. The plant cassava, it is a woody shrub. Okay. Next. Ginger, herb with pseudostem. Malabar spinach, herbaceous climber. Okay. Next, mint, annual shrub, and papaya, woody shrub. So among them, which of the following are correct? Okay. Cassava, it is a woody shrub. Yes. Ginger, it is a herb with pseudostem. Yes. Malabar spinach, it is not the herbaceous climber. Okay. And mint also, it is not annual shrub. Papaya is also woody shrub, and only 3 of them are correct. Only 3 of them are correct. Okay. Answer is B. Next. With reference to the planet Earth, consider the following statements. Rainforest produces more oxygen than the produced by oceans. Okay. See, this particular statement is wrong. Okay. Why? Because even we have the aquatic ecosystem, and the aquatic ecosystem produces large amount of oxygen more than the rainforest. Okay. So this statement is wrong. Next. Marine phytoplankton and photosynthetic bacteria produce about 50% of world's oxygen. This is right. Okay. Next. Well oxygenated surface water contains several folds higher oxygen than in atmosphere air. Okay. See, well oxygenated surface is nothing but the surface which the ecosystem which completely depends on the sunlight. Okay. But that is not standard. So this statement is also wrong. So statement only 2 is correct. Next. Consider the following type of vehicles. Fully battery electric vehicles, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, fuel cell electric hybrid vehicles. Now, how many of the above are considered as alternative powertrain vehicles? See, first of all, alternative powertrain vehicles are the vehicles which are not dependent on the conventional fuel, Now, all these 3 are not dependent on the conventional fuel. So the answer is all the 3. Next. With reference to the unmanned aerial vehicle, consider the following statements. All types of unmanned aerial vehicles can do vertical landing. No, this is not right. All types of unmanned air vehicles can do automated hovering. This is also not right. Next. All types of unmanned air vehicles can use battery only as a source of power supply. See, if they use only battery as the source of power supply, obviously the maneuvering, or the power with respect to them will not be that huge. So this is also not right. So answer is none. Clear? Next. In the context of electric vehicle batteries, consider the following elements: cobalt, graphite, lithium, nickel. Okay. Now, how many of the above usually make up battery cathodes? Okay. So the lithium, nickel, and cobalt. Okay, lithium, nickel, and the graphite. Okay, these 3 make up the the battery cathodes. Clear? Next. Consider the following: the cigarette butts, eyeglass lenses and car tires. Now, how many of them contain plastic? How many of them contain plastic? All the three contains the plastic. It is more direct question. Clear? Next. Consider the following substances. First one, ethanol. Second one, nitroglycerin. And third one is the urea. Coal gasification technology can be used in the production of how many of them? Coal gasification technology can be used in the production of how many of them? It can be used in the ethanol and the nitroglycerin. So answer is only 2. Only 2. Next. What is the common characteristics of the chemical substances generally known as Cl20, HMX and LLM105, which are sometimes talked about in media? The first one is, these are alternative hydrofluorocarbon refrigerators. No. These are explosive in military weapons. Yes, these are the explosives in the military weapons that we have developed recently. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. It is expected that Majorana 1 chip will enable quantum computing. Okay. Next. Majorana 1 chip has been introduced by Amazon Web Services. Next. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. This is right and this is right, and this is not developed by the Amazon Web Services. So answer is only 1 and 3. Next. With reference to monoclonal antibodies often mentioned in news, consider the following statements. They are man-made proteins. They are man-made proteins, yes. They are artificial proteins. They are not the natural proteins that are formed. Clear? Next. They stimulate immunological function due to their ability to bind to specific antigens. This is also right. Next. They are used in treating viral infections like that of Nipah virus. This is also right. Answer is 1, 2 and 3. Next. Consider the following statements. No virus can survive in the ocean water. No. The virus can survive in the ocean water. Why not? Next. No virus can infect bacteria. They can infect. No virus can change the cellular transcriptional activity in the host. This is also wrong. Answer is none. Which of the following are correct? The answer is none. And which of the following are not correct? The answer is all the 3. So, which of the following given statements are correct? And the answer is none. Okay, next. Consider the following statement. Statement 1. Activated carbon is a good and an attractive tool to remove pollutants from effluent streams and to remediate contaminants from the various industries. Okay, next. Activated carbon exhibits a large surface area and a strong potential for absorbing heavy metals. Clear? Next. Activated carbon can be easily synthesized from environmental waste with high carbon content. Okay. See, the point here is that all the 3 statements are correct. In fact, the statement 2 and statement 3 is also correct. The point is which statement explains better statement 1. But both the statement explains. Okay. Both of them explains the statement 1. Clear? Next. With reference to the Indian polity, consider the following statements. An ordinance can amend any central act. An ordinance can amend any central act. The answer is yes. Okay, but that is for a brief period of time. For a brief period of time, the ordinance can amend the central act for about 6 months, 6 weeks. That is the maximum time period of the ordinance, and that can be done by the thing. Okay, so the statement 1 is correct. Next, an ordinance can abridge a fundamental right. No, through ordinances you cannot abridge the fundamental right. So, statement 2 is wrong. Next, an ordinance can come into effect from the back date, yet it has the retrospective effect. It can be amended retrospectively. So, the answer is 1 and 3. Next, state, Arunachal Pradesh. The capital is named after a fort and the state has 2 national parks. Okay, this statement is right. We call it as the Eta Fort. Eta Nagar, what is it's called as the Eta Fort. Next, Nagaland. The state came into existence on the basis of the constitutional amendment. This is also right. Next, Tripura. Initially a Part C state, it became a centrally administered territory with the reorganization of states in 1956 and later attained the full status of the full-fledged state. Okay, so this is also right. The answer is all the 3. Clear? Next, With reference to the Indian Constitution, with reference to India, consider the following statements. The first one is the Interstate Council. Interstate Council. The second one, National Security Council. And third one, Zonal Council. Now the question is, how many of the above were established as per the provisions of the Constitution of India? We know Interstate Council Article 263. We have the Interstate Council as part of Article 262 and 263. So Interstate Council is a constitutional body. Next we have the National Security Council, which is not a constitutional body. It is not a constitutional body. Next we have the Zonal Council, which were brought in the year 1956 as per the State Reorganization Commission. As per the State Reorganization Commission. Now that Zonal Council is not a constitutional body. So the answer is only one. Only one. Okay. Next. The Constitution of India explicitly mentions that in certain spheres the governor of states acts in his or own discretion. This is right. Why? Because president may not have certain discretionary powers, but the governor have certain discretionary powers, especially with respect to the reservation of the bill for the consideration of the president under Article 201 of the Indian Constitution. When no party secures the majority, okay, the governor can call one political party to form the government. Okay, so like this, some situational discretions are vested with the governor. So statement 1 is right. Next, the President of India is or her own reserve a bill passed by the state legislature for his or her consideration without being forwarded by the governor of the state concerned. No, this is wrong. Why? Because the President of India under Article 201 of the Indian Constitution can take into the consideration of the bill that is passed by the State Legislative Assembly only if the bill is passed by the governor. If only the governor reserves the bill and sent it to the President. This happens as part of Article 200 and 201 of the Indian Constitution, which is in news. Okay. So statement 1 is only correct. Next. Provisions in the Constitution. The separation of judiciary from the executive in public services of the state. Yes, this is part of the directive principles of state policy. Next, valuing and preserving the rich heritage of our composite culture. This is part of fundamental duties. Yes. Next, provision of employment of children below the age of 14 years in factories. This is also present as part of fundamental duties. So all the three are correct. All the three are correct. Next. With reference to the Constitution of India, if any area is a state is declared as scheduled area under the 5th schedule, we know 5th schedule deals with the scheduled areas and scheduled tribes except for the northeastern region. The scheduled areas with respect to the northeastern region is as part of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram is dealt as part of schedule 6th of the Indian Constitution. But the question is only with respect to the 5th schedule. The state government loses its executive power in such areas and a local body assumes total administration. See, it is not the local body which assumes the administration, but it is the governor. It is the governor. Under the hands of the governor and sometimes under the president, the administration is carried out. Clear? Next, the union government can take over the total administration of such areas under certain circumstances on the recommendations of the governor. Yes, this is right. So statement 2 is correct. Okay, statement 1 is wrong. Next, 57th question. With reference to India, consider the following pairs. The National Automotive Board, which is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. The answer is no. It is under the Ministry of Heavy Industries. Okay, so the first thing is wrong. Next, the Coir Board, Ministry of Heavy Industries. No, it is not under the Ministry of Heavy Industry. It is part of Ministry of MSME. Next, the National Center for Trade and Information, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. This is also wrong. It is part of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So all these statements are wrong. So which of the following are correct? None. None of them are correct. Next. Consider the following subjects under the Constitution of India. List 1, Union list in the 7th schedule. Extent of the executive power of the state. Okay, and conditions of the governor's office. Now the question is, for the constitutional amendment with respect to the which of the following above, ratification by the legislature of not less than 1/2 of the state is required before presenting the bill to the President of India for assent. See, the conditions for the office of governor is not dealt as part of the, the ratification of the states. We have Article 368 of the Indian Constitution which deals with the amendment procedure. Now, as per the amendment procedure, we have the provision where if the bill is passed by the parliament with the special majority, and if that bill is affecting the federal structure, then that bill need to be sent to the state legislative assemblies, and if half of the state legislative assemblies pass that particular bill in simple majority, then that particular bill can become an act. But there are certain provisions which are eligible for the ratification of the state, and the conditions for the office of governor as not part of this ratification of the state. So statement 1 and 2 are correct. Only statement 1 and 2 are correct. Clear? Next. With a reference to the Indian polity, consider the following statements. The governor of state is not answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of the powers and duties of his or her office. This is correct. Next, no criminal proceedings shall be initiated or continued against the governor during his or her term of office. This is also correct. For the civil proceedings, you need to give 2 months of prior notice, and for criminal proceedings, no initiation can be done as far as the particular person is holding the office. Next, members of state legislature are not liable to any proceedings in any court in respect of anything said within the house. That is what is called as the privilege. We call it as the parliamentary privileges. Okay. So statement 3 is also correct. Answer is 1, 2 and 3. Clear? Next. Consider the following activities. Production of crude oil, refining, storage and distribution of petroleum, marketing and sale of petroleum products, production of natural gas. Now, how many of the above activities are regulated by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board in our country? The first point is the production of crude oil, and the second point is refining, storage and distribution of petroleum. These both are dealt as part of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board in our country, and the answer is B. Clear? Next. Suppose the revenue expenditure is 80,000 crore. Consider, let us keep it as 80,000. Okay. Next. And the revenue receipt of the government is revenue receipt. Receipt is nothing but income, revenue income. Okay, 60,000 crore. Now so this is the revenue expenditure, and this is the revenue received. So revenue deficit is equal to 20,000. Let us conclude it like that. Okay. Now the government budget also shows borrowings of 10,000, which is nothing but fiscal deficit. Okay, and interest payment is 6,000 crore. Okay. Now the question that is given is, which of the following statements are correct? First, revenue deficit is 20,000. Yes, it is 20,000. We have already done that. Next, fiscal deficit is 10,000. Fiscal deficit is nothing but the borrowing is the fiscal deficit. This is also right. Next, primary deficit. Primary deficit is nothing but, there is a formula. Primary deficit is equal to fiscal deficit minus interest payments. So, what is the fiscal deficit? 10,000. What is the interest payment? 6,000. So the answer is 4,000. Okay. So primary deficit is 4,000, which is also correct. So 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Clear? Next. India is one of the founding members of the International North-South Transport Corridor INSTC, a multimodal transportation corridor which will connect. The first thing is India to Central Asia to Europe via Iran. Next, India to Central Asia via China. First of all, this is most common sense. Why will we include China as part of the project? Okay, China is already having its own, the economic corridor which is being developed by China, that is the One Belt, One Road. So statement 2 is not correct. Next, India to Southeast Asia through Bangladesh and Myanmar. See, currently as part of the INSTC, the Southeast Asian nations are not part of INSTC. So this is also wrong. Next, India to Europe through Azerbaijan. Now you might confuse between A and D, but the point here is that there is one major component as far as the Iran is concerned, which is the Chabahar port, which is very important to India. So if you remember that, you can easily answer this. India to Central Asia to Europe via Iran. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. Of the two major ethanol producers in the world, that is the Brazil and the United States of America, the former produces more ethanol than the latter. Okay. Clear? See, at least previously there used to be a USA's interfere in those countries which have the high crude, high amount of crude oil, or the countries which are producing large amount of the petroleum based fuels. Okay. So at least now that has been decreased because USA has discovered its own ethanol reserves. As a consequence of that, the USA presence in other country which primarily produce large amount of petroleum has decreased. Okay. Next, unlike in the United States of America, where corn is the principal feedstock for ethanol production, sugarcane is the principal feedstock for ethanol production in Brazil. This is right. This is right. Now let us see the interconnection. Okay. Now the question is, which of the following statements is correct in the respect of the above statement? Okay. See, the point is statement 1 is not correct and statement 2 is correct. Clear? Next. The World Bank warned that India could become one of the first places where wet bulb temperature routinely exceeds 35 degrees centigrade. Now, which of the following statement best reflects the implication of the above said report? The first statement is, Peninsular India will most likely suffer from flooding, tropical cyclone and droughts. Yes. Next, the survival of animals including humans will be affected as shedding of their body heat through perspiration becomes difficult. This is also right. So, both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Next, a country's fiscal deficit stands at 50,000. It is receiving 10,000 crores through non-debt creating capital receipts. See, fiscal deficit is equal to revenue deficit plus capital deficit. Okay, from that, the capital deficit we exclude the non-debt creating capital receipts. Okay, so the fiscal deficit stands as 50,000 crore. It is receiving 10,000 crore through non-debt creating capital receipts. So this is not included as part of the fiscal deficit. Next, the country's interest liabilities are 1,500. Okay. Now, what is the gross primary deficit? The primary deficit is equal to fiscal deficit minus interest payments. So fiscal deficit is 50,000 minus interest payments is 1,500. So the answer is 48,500. This is this answer. Clear? Next. Which of the following statements with regard to the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission of India are correct? First one, it has recommended grants of 4,800 crore from the year 2022 to 23 to the year 2025 26 for incentivizing states to enhance educational outcomes. Now consider, we don't know the the allocations as far as the commission is concerned. Okay, let us keep this statement aside. Next, 45% of the net proceedings of union taxes are to be shared with states. It is not 45%, it is 41%. Okay, why? Because previously we used to have 42%, but we have reduced that 1% in order to supplement the resources of the newly formed Jammu and Kashmir and the Ladakh region. Okay, so statement 2 is wrong. Next, now once if you eliminate the statement 2, this is gone, this is gone and this is gone. Answer is 1, 3 and 4. Let us see the fourth also. It reintroduced tax effort criteria to reward physical performance. Yes, the tax buoyancy. The tax buoyancy is taken into the consideration with respect to the criteria of how the constitutional distribution of the revenue can happen. So statement 4 is also correct. So answer is 1, 3 and 4. Next. Consider the following statements in respect of the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The first one is, it provides loans. It provides loans and guarantees to middle income countries. Okay. Next, it works single-handedly to help developing countries to reduce poverty. There are many other institutions. How can you say the World Bank is only the thing with a work single-handedly? So this statement is wrong. Now once you eliminate the second statement, okay, this is gone. Answer is 1 and 3. Next, it was established to help Europe rebuild after the World War II. The very name itself suggests the reconstruction and development. So answer 3 is also correct, and the correct answer is C, 1 and 3. Next, 68. Consider the following statements in respect of RTGS and NEFT, real-time gross settlement and National Electronic Fund Transfer. First statement, the RTGS the settlement time is instantaneous, while in case of the NEFT, it takes some time to settle the payments. See, what is RTGS? Real time. What is real time? It is instant. The meaning of the real time is instant. So, statement 1 is correct. Next. In RTGS, the customer is charged for inward transactions, while that is not in the case for NEFT. Point number 1, inward transaction is nothing but some other person sending me the money. Okay. Now, for that money, why will I pay the charges? The person who is sending the money need to pay the charges for the money that I receive. Okay. So, statement 2 is completely wrong. Next, statement 3. Operating hours for RTGS are restricted on certain days, while this is not true for NEFT. This is also right. So, statement 1 and 3 are correct. Statement 1 and 3 are correct. Next. 69. Consider the following countries. Consider the following countries. How many countries among the above are there other than India where international merchant payments are accepted under UPI? The first one is UAE, France, Germany, Singapore and Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, it is not allowed. And also in Germany, it is not allowed. So, answer is 1, 2 and 4. So, only 3. Next. Consider the following statements about the Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. It targets installation of 1 crore solar rooftop panels in the residential sector. Right. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy aims to impart training on installation, operation and maintenance and repairs of solar rooftop system at grassroots level. This is also right. Next, it aims to create more than 3 lakh skilled manpower through fresh skilling and upskilling under scheme component of capacity building. This is mentioned as part of the economic survey. Clear? So, all these statements are correct. Okay. Next. Sedition has become my religion was the famous statement given by Gandhiji at the time of the public violating salt law at Dandi. It is through the civil disobedience movement. It is during the civil disobedience movement this particular statement was given by the Gandhi. Why? Because what is the civil disobedience movement? Willful violation of the laws. Willful violation of the law or willful disobedience of the law is what is called as the the civil disobedience, and this particular statement was given during the civil disobedience movement. Next. The famous female figurine known as Dancing Girl found at Mohenjo-daro is made up of bronze. It is called as Bronze Dancing Girl. Bronze Dancing Girl. This is the direct question. Okay. Next. Who provided legal defense to the people arrested in the aftermath of Chauri Chaura incident? Chauri Chaura incident. Okay. So, the Chauri Chaura incident is the incident that happened because of the non-cooperation movement. Okay. So, it is through after this particular incident, the Bardoli resolution was brought in to end the non-cooperation movement, and it is the Madan Mohan Malvai and Krishna Kant are the people who have brought or who have given the legal assistance to the people who are arrested as part of this particular incident. Clear? Next. Subsequent to which one of the following events, Gandhi, who consistently opposed untouchability and appealed for its eradication from all spheres, dedicated to include the upliftment of Harijans in his political and social program? It is through Pune Pact. It is through Pune Pact where the Gandhi and the Ambedkar, they came to an agreement with respect to what would be the reservation that will be provided to the Harijans. In terms of the representation, So, the answer is the Pune Pact A. Clear? Next. Consider the following fruits: papaya, pineapple and guava. Okay. How many of the above were introduced in India by the Portuguese in the 16th and the 17th century? Yes, it is papaya and pineapple. It is not guava. Okay. So, 1 and 2. Only 2 is correct. Next. Consider the following statements. Okay. United Kingdom, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia and Brazil. How many of the above countries have more than 4 time zones? 4 time zones. So, the answer is only 3. Okay, see the Australia, okay, the Denmark and United Kingdom. Okay, these three countries have more than 4 time zones. Next, consider the following statements. Andes in Siberia and Nome in Alaska are few kilometers from each other, but when people are waking up and getting set for the breakfast in these cities, it would be different days. Why? Because these two cities are separated by international date of line. Okay, next. When it is Monday in Andir, it is Tuesday in Nome, but it is actually reverse. Why? Because when it is Tuesday in Andir, it is Monday in Nome. So only statement 1 is correct. Clear? Next. Next, direct question. Who among the following was the founder of self-respect movement? Self-respect movement, it is the Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy. Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy. Direct question. Next. Next. Consider the following pairs. Botswana, diamond, Chile, lithium, Indonesia, nickel. Now, in how many of the above rows is the given information correctly matched? All the three are correct. Why? Because in Botswana you have the the diamond reserves. In Chile you have the lithium, and Indonesia in nickel. Okay, so all the three are correct. Next, consider the following pairs. Mallorca. The first one is the Mallorca. Okay. Next, Normandy and Sardinia Now, Mallorca, it is not in Italy. It is not in Italy. It is in Spain. Okay, and Normandy, it is not in Spain. It is in France. Okay, so answer is only one, that is the Sardinia, which is in France. So only one is the answer. Clear? Next. Now consider the following statements. Some rare earth elements are used in the manufacture of flat television screens and computer monitors. Okay. Next. Some rare earth elements have phosphorescent properties. Okay. Phosphorescent properties. Okay. Now the question is, which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statement? See, if we see individually, both are correct. Both are correct. But whether the statement 2 explains the statement 1 or are they interconnected is the question, and the answer is yes, they are interconnected. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 explains statement 1. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. Indian Railways have prepared a national rail plan to create a future-ready railway system by 2028. Yes, in order to improve the technology and in order to improve the infrastructure, we have drawn a map with respect to the the national railway plan. Okay, next. Kavach is an automatic train protection system developed in collaboration with Germany. Yes, this is also right. Next, Kavach system consists of RFID tags fitted on track in station in station section. This is also right. So all the three are correct. Clear? Next. Next, consider the following space missions: Axiom 4, SpaceX and Gaganyaan. Now, how many of these space missions given above encourage and support microgravity research? See, all these missions will support the microgravity research. Clear? Next. With a reference to India's defense, consider the following pairs. First one, Dornier 228 with second one IL-76, next C-17 Globemaster 3. Okay, now let us do the description. The Dornier 228, it is the maritime patrol aircraft. This is right. Next, IL-76, it is a supersonic combat aircraft. This is also right. Next, C-17 Globemaster 3 military transport aircraft. This is wrong. So only 2 are correct. Next. Artificial way of causing rainfall to reduce air pollution makes use of silver iodide and potassium iodide. That was done in Dubai. Okay, so the silver iodide and potassium iodide was used to create the artificial rainfall. Next. Consider the following statements with regard to pardoning power of the president. The exercise of this power by the president can be subjected to limited judicial review. Can be subjected to limited judicial review. Yes, there will not be interference of judiciary with respect to the pardoning power of the president. The president can exercise this power without the advice of the central government. No, he need to take the advice of the prime minister and the council of ministers when he is exercising the pardoning power. That is the reason I have told you. The discretionary powers as far as the president is concerned are very, very limited. In fact, we can say that there are no discretionary powers. But with respect to the governor, we have the more number of discretionary powers. So, only statement 1 is correct. Clear? Next. On the dissolution of the House of the People, the Speaker shall not vacate his or her office until immediately before the first meeting of the House of the People after the dissolution. Okay. Next. According to the provisions of the Constitution of India, a member of House of the People on being elected as Speaker shall resign from his or her political party immediately. This is not necessary. This is not necessary. But in order to give an impression of impartiality, the speaker can resign, but it is not constitutionally mandated or it is not mentioned as part of the rule book of the parliament to resign from the political party. Okay, next. The Speaker of the House of the People may be removed from his or her office by resolution of a House of the People passed by a majority of all the then members of the House, provided that no resolution shall be moved unless at least 14 days of time. This is right. Okay, so statement 1 and 3 are correct. Statement 1 and 3 are correct. Why? Because the president will not, the speaker will not vacate his office immediately after the dissolution of the house happens. So statement 1 and 3 are right. Next. Consider the following statement. If any question arises as to whether a member of the House of the People has been subjected to disqualification under the 10th schedule, 10th schedule, anti-defection. It deals with the anti-defection. Okay, the president decision in accordance with the opinion of the Council of Ministers shall be final. The point here is that it is not the president decision. Okay, next. There is no mention of the word political party in the constitution. It is mentioned as part of the 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act. If one particular person shift from one political party to the other political party, obviously it is the, disqualification that attracts. So concept of political party was mentioned. If it is not mentioned in original constitution, yes, it is not mentioned in the original constitution. But later through an amendment, there is a mention. So which of the following statement correct? Answer 1. Clear? Next. Consider the following. In India, state government have no power for making rules for grant of concessions in respect of extraction of minor minerals. Extraction of minor minerals, even through such minerals are located in their territories. Okay, next. In India, the central government has the power to notify minor minerals under the relevant law. This is right. But the point statement 1 is the state government have no power. They have limited power. No power is different from the limited power. So statement 1 is wrong, statement 2 is right, and the answer is statement 1 is not correct, but statement 2 is correct. Next. Question number 90. Which organization has enacted nature restoration law to tackle climate change and biodiversity? It is the European Union. Direct question. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements. Panchayat at this intermediate level exists in all states. No, intermediary level panchayat doesn't exist in the all states. Okay, the states with only certain amount of population or the states with the 20 below the 20 lakh population doesn't have the intermediary level. So statement 1 is wrong. Now once you eliminate the statement 1, okay, sorry, the question is not correct. Okay, now let us read the other. To be eligible to be the member of a panchayat at the intermediate level, a person should attain the age of 30 years. No, 21 years. Okay, next. The Chief Minister of a state constitutes a commission to review the financial position of panchayats at the intermediate levels and to make recommendations regarding the distribution of net proceedings of taxes and duties levied by the state between the state and the panchayat at the intermediate level. It is the State Finance Commission which does that, not the Chief Minister. So statement 3 is also wrong. So answer is 1, 2, 3 are not correct. Next. Consider the following statements in the respect of BIMSTEC. Okay. It is a regional organization consisting of 7 member states till January 2025. Okay, next, it came into existence with the signing of the Dhaka Declaration. This is wrong. Next, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Nepal are the founding members of the BIMSTEC. This is also wrong. Next, in BIMSTEC, the subsector of tourism is being led by India. This is also wrong. Answer D only. Clear? Only statement 1 is correct. Next, who among the following are members of the jury to select the recipient of Gandhi Peace Prize? Okay, the first one is the President of India. No. It is the President who gives the prize, but President of India is not the member. The Prime Minister of India? Yes. The Chief Justice of India? Yes. And the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha. So, answer is 2, 3 and 4. Next, the GPS-aided geo-augmented navigation uses a system of ground stations to provide necessary augmentation. Now, which of the following statements are correct in respect of the Gagan? First one is, it is designed to provide additional accuracy and integrity. Yes. It will allow more uniform and high quality air traffic management. Yes. It will provide benefits only in aviation but not in other modes of transportation. No, it is trying to achieve the multimodal logistics. Okay, so statement 3 is wrong, only 1 and 2 are correct. Next. Consider the following statements regarding AI Auction Summit held in Grand Palais, Paris in February 2025. Now, it is co-chaired with India. The event builds on the advance made at the Bletchley Park Summit held in 2023 and the Seoul Summit held in 2024. This is right. Next, along with other countries, USA, UK also signed a declaration on inclusive and sustainable AI. No, these countries did not sign. So, answer is only 1. Next, consider the following pairs. Okay, International Year of the Women Farmer 2026. This is right. International Year of Sustainable and Resilient Tourism 2027. Yes, right. International Year of Peace and Trust 2025. This is also correct. Next, International Year of Asteroid Awareness and Planetary Defense. This is also right. So, answer is all the 4 are correct. Clear? Next. The 16th BRICS Summit was held under the chairmanship of Russia in Kazan. This is right. Indonesia has become the full member of BRICS. Yes. The theme of the 16th BRICS Summit was strengthening multiculturalism for just global development and security. No, this is wrong. So, statement 1 and 2 are correct. Next. Consider the following statement about Lokpal. Okay. The power of Lokpal applies to public servants of India, but not to the Indian public servants posted outside India. Right? The chairman of member shall not be member of the parliament or the member of the legislature of any state or union territory, and only the Chief Justice of India, whether incumbent or retired, as to be its chairperson. This is wrong. Okay, this is also wrong. Next, Lokpal cannot inquire into the allegations of corruption against a sitting Prime Minister of India. Yes, it cannot initiate. Okay, so which of the following are correct? Only 3. Clear? Next. Consider the following statements in the respect of first Cocoa World Cup. See, in this particular Lokpal question, the fundamental thing is that the Prime Minister is immune to the investigation in certain areas, in certain fields. So, as a consequence of that, we can consider that statement as correct. Next, consider the following statements in respect of first Cocoa World Cup. The event was held in Delhi, India, right? Indian men beat Nepal with a score of 70. This is too detail of the question, but the answer is no. Okay, it is not. The Indian men did not. The score is not same actually. Okay. Next, Indian women beat Nepal with a score of 54-36 in the final to become the world champion in women category. This is also wrong. So answer is only 1. Next, 100. Consider the following statements. In the finals of the 45th Chess Olympiad held in 2024, Gukesh Domaraju became the world's youngest winner after defeating the Russian player. And clear? So this is wrong. He is not the youngest player. Next, Abhimanyu Mishra, an American chess player, holds the record of becoming world's youngest ever grandmaster. This is true. So answer is B. Okay. So this is the discussion with respect to the UPSC prelims examination. Clear? Thank you.